Hello, Mountain House community. This is the question and answer session for scheduling for the 2026-2027 school year. My name is Mrs. Russo. I'm one of the counselors on campus. We also have Mr. Cronin, Mrs. Aslami, Mrs. Gammas, and Ms. Myers online with us. Today, we're going to be addressing any questions you might have to prepare for next school year. On the screen, you should see a QR code and a tiny URL. This is for questions. So we will be taking all questions through our Google form. So please either paste the tiny URL or use the QR code to access that Google form and submit your question through the form. Once we start receiving questions, we're going to just jump right in and we'll read the question aloud and answer it. A lot of your questions can be addressed by watching the video that was sent out and the materials that are located on the website. So for now, we're going to just wait until we start receiving questions on the Google form. So just as a reminder, we are not presenting any specific information today. This is simply a question and answer session. So if you have a question about scheduling for the 2026-2027 school year, please utilize the link that you see on your screen to submit your questions through the form. All right, our first question is, we are unable to select Math 2 honors because Math 1 was selected as a default. Our son is currently doing Math 1 in 8th grade, and we would like to move forward with Math 2 honors. So if your student is a current Math 1 student, so they're in 8th grade and they're currently taking Math 1, as long as they're passing that course, they're eligible to move on to Math 2 or Math 2 honors in 9th grade year. They need to send an email to their counselor and let them know that they want either Math 2 or Math 2 honors added to their Aries account, and we will do it for them. They can find the counselor email by going to the Mountain House High website and clicking on counseling. It'll take us to the homepage and you'll be able to find the contacts for all counselors. We break up our caseload by last name. So based on your student's last name, you would find the counselor associated with your student and send them an email. For students who are interested in the Math 1 Summer Skipper program, please do not email your counselor at this time. We will be sending information out the first week in February about the Math 1 Summer Skipper program. So only students who are currently taking Math 1 as an 8th grader should be emailing their counselor about Math 2 or Math 2 honors. For those of you who joined us a little bit late, we are not presenting any specific information during this presentation. It's simply a question and answer format. So on the screen, you will see a tiny URL that will take you to a Google form. Please submit all questions through the Google form. Our next question is, for pathway alternates, can we select more than one alternate or just one? So for students, when they're selecting an elective class, and a pathway counts as an elective class, they need to choose at least one alternate for every elective that they select. And yes, they can choose to select more than one alternate. So maybe their primary choice is computer science essentials, but they are going to use intro to business as their backup. Maybe they also want to add art one as their backup. So yes, they could have more than one alternate assigned to their primary course. So our next question is, when will we be able to submit the form? So if I'm understanding correctly, when will you be able to submit the course request in Aries? So students have access to Aries course request starting today, and it's due on, I believe it's January 28th, but let me double check that day for you. Yeah, so January 28th at 11:59 p.m. is when the course request in Aries is due. There is no submit or save form. So once they have gone in and add the course into their course request, and they can see the course listed by the subjects, that it's saved, it's in there. There's no additional save or submit button. So as a reminder, please submit all questions through the Google form. Right now, we're not really having a ton of questions come in. So we're going to just kind of sit online and wait until we have more questions come in. So if you hear lots of silence, that's because we have not had a question come in. So we're just kind of waiting to see if there's more. Our next question is, for biomed pathway, principles of biomed is in science section. What can I select in elective then? So yes, if your student is interested in the biomed pathway, the first level course is Principles of Biomed Honors. And Principles of Biomed Honors is actually going to fulfill their life science requirement. So, as a ninth grader, if they're enrolled in Principles of Biomed, they will not be taking biology or biology honors. Principles of Biomed is going to meet the life science requirement. So, this does mean they can take an additional 2 electives on top of a Principles of Biomed. Yes, they can select another pathway class, but they cannot select engineering or computer science. Biomed, engineering, computer science can only be taken independently. You can only sign up for one out of the 3. You're not able to take 2 or more.
Our next question is priority given to students who complete their course request earlier than others? No. The answer to that is no. Course requests are completely randomized over summer, and we get the scheduling when we come back in fall.
The only kind of priority you will see is higher grade levels do get priority in classes. So starting with 10th or 12th, 11th, 10th, and then 9th. So as a ninth grader, unfortunately, you do have the least amount of priority because you still have the most amount of time to take classes.
The next question is related, it looks like, to our language academies. So for our approved language academies, you wouldn't have access to sign up for them within the course request selection. Within the course request, those are only the language classes that we offer at Mountain House High School, which is Chinese, French, and Spanish. Any other language through a language academy, students can still take those if it's approved with our high school. It's just not going to be something a student can select within the course selection window.
Please use the tiny URL on the screen to ask questions. We are not taking questions from the chat. We have another question about when kids get their schedule to see if they got the classes that they requested. That happens at walkthrough registration, which is towards the end of July. The next question is, if I don't get principles of biomed, am I allowed to keep bio honors as an alternate option? Yes. We actually recommend that if you're putting biomed, to put the alternate of whether you want bio or bio honors.
The next question, it looks like it's related to our online course offerings. So an online course is treated similarly to an in-person course in terms of course selection. So if you're selecting, for instance, an online biology course, that does not give you an extra space to add an additional class. So even if you're picking an online course, you can still only have 7 primary selections within that course window when students are making those selections. So an online course does not give a student an additional opportunity to select an extra class. So just keep that in mind if your student is choosing to pick an online class.
Our next question is, if I don't get Principles of Biomed honors, am I allowed to keep biology honors as an alternate option? Yes. So if you selected Principles of Biomed honors, that is fulfilling your life science requirement. But if you don't get that course because it's full or conflicts with something else and you want biology honors, I recommend adding biology honors as the alternate to Principles of Biomed in your Aries account.
The next question is asking when they'll know the results of the pathway selection. And we touched on this earlier, but essentially you'll get that official schedule at walkthrough registration, which is typically at the end of July. So that's when you'll get the final results and you'll see that final schedule with all of the classes that you have for the upcoming school year.
Our next question is, can we take Spanish course through Delta College? No. Well, I mean, technically, yes, but we won't articulate it onto the high school transcript. We offer Spanish, French, and Chinese here. So if students are interested in having that course on their high school transcript, they need to take it with us. Our next question is, the difference was between the flex period versus having a 7th period class. So on Mountain House High campus, 6 classes is a full schedule. So 6 classes with 1 flex period, which a flex period is a free period, is the traditional standard schedule for all students. Students have the option to request a 7th class. If they do so, they would not have a free period. So they would expect, additional time demands, additional work, because they're taking on an extra course. We do not guarantee 7 courses to any student. We guarantee 6 courses every single year. But if your student is interested in a 7th class, they can definitely request it. And we certainly do our best to match students with what they're interested in.
The next question is, if I choose Principles of Biomed honors in life science and biology honors as alternate option, then in electives, can I select computer science? No, that gets a little tricky because there could be the possibility that you could get Principles of Biomed and CS Essentials. So unfortunately, for as far as the course request goes, you can only primarily request 1 PLTW. So that means you can only request CS Essentials, Intro to Engineering, or Biomed one time as the primary course.
For those of you who just joined us, this is a Q&A session. We are just answering questions that you may have. We're not presenting anything in particular. So please use the link on the screen to submit your questions through the Google form. We are not answering questions that come through the chat. There is a lot of resources available on the Mountain House High website. If you click on counseling and go to course selection, all the materials are located for incoming ninth graders in that section. Our next question is, my daughter wants to do freshman leadership, but it is conflicting with other classes she will be taking freshman year. What advice can you give her? So if I'm understanding the question correctly, your daughter maybe is interested in leadership and maybe 2 other elective classes, but she only has space for 2. As far as what advice I can give her, I would say go with the courses that she feels most passionate about. Without having more information, I would say leadership is a really great opportunity to start with as a ninth grader because it's something that they can commit to for 4 years. If she was interested in leadership, Spanish, and computer science essentials, for example, the Spanish class she can always save for a future year. So if that were the case, I would choose leadership and computer science essentials. But really, she should think about what she's most passionate about and choose the courses accordingly.
We have also posted links in the chat. We posted links to the anticipated course list, which offers all courses that we anticipate we're going to offer next school year. And we also included a link for the course catalog, which again lists all courses that we offer, plus a brief description of what the course is.
The next question is, will all the foreign language approved by Mountain House High School be accepted by colleges? Yes, so they're principal certified. That means when we add them to our transcript, colleges approve those principal certified language academies as well.
The next question is, can students change their pathway after courses are assigned? That answer is no. We're not going to be doing course changes next year, so please make sure that your student is choosing courses that they want to take for the full year.
What they can do, though, is if they select a pathway for ninth grade year and after ninth grade year, they decide they no longer like the pathway and do not want to continue, they don't have to continue the pathway in future years. Our next question is, how does dual enrollment work and how can you enroll? I'm going to encourage you and your student to go to the Mountain House High website. Under counseling, you will find the non-MHHS section. Everything you need to know about taking courses with a community college is located on the counseling website under non-MHHS courses. They cannot take anything in between 8th and 9th grade year. So the earliest that they can register for a course is the fall 2026 semester. So go check out the website, again, under counseling, non-MHHS courses.
The next question is asking about alternates. So like we mentioned earlier, we will not be providing any schedule changes in the fall. So it is essential that students have alternates for their electives. The system will let students input up to 5 alternates. And I've been telling students that they should take advantage and include 5 alternates. That gives your counselor the best idea of what classes the student wants to take. So if a situation happens where a student doesn't get into their primary course, we could really look at that alternate list and see what that student is interested in taking. So the more the student can put in there, the better, and the system will let the student enter up to 5 alternate selections.
Our next question is about biomed and whether the first level of the pathway counts as an elective or a life science. The first level of the biomed pathway, principles of biomed, counts as a life science. Students will not be allowed to take biology and principles of biomed. So principles of biomed fulfills the life science category.
The next question is, if I choose biomed as first option and do not get selected, does it work if I keep computer science as an alternate option in electives? Is that allowed? So the only issue with this is if you have you can have computer science as an alternate to your biomed. You just can't have computer science as an alternate to another course in the case that you get selected for biomed and then you need to use the alternate of computer science. So for this question, in terms of you selecting biomed as one of your electives for next year and having computer science as an alternate for that biomed course, that is fine.
Next question was, there was a link posted earlier, and it seems like there was an issue with that link, the tiny URL. So a new one was submitted, but also you can type the tiny URL into your search bar and it'll take you directly to the form. Our next question is, if we don't get into the biomed pathway, we want to know, can we get a chance to get it again next year? So yes, all of our pathways are designed that they can either be started in 9th or 10th grade, and you will still have time to complete the full pathway. So if in 9th grade you do not get the pathway of your choice, again in 10th grade you can request it. As a 10th grader, you're going to have priority in those intro level pathway classes because we do not allow our 11th and 12th grade students to request an intro level class. So as a 10th grader, you will have priority in the pathway that you are interested in. So if it doesn't happen 9th grade year, there's a good chance it'll happen in 10th grade year. As a reminder, please post all questions to the Google form using the tiny URL that's posted on the screen. We are not addressing questions that are posted in the chat. So make sure you submit your question through the form that you see on your screen. So another question about our principal certified language academies. So this one was regarding Telugu. Yes, if you complete this program and have it articulated to your high school transcript, four-year colleges will recognize that as meeting world language requirement as long as your student has completed level 2 or above.
The next question is asking about Math 1 being in the course request already. If your student is currently taking Math 1 at the high school, at their school, All they have to do is email their counselor and ask to be in either Math 2 or Math 2 Honors. We can verify that they're currently in Math 1, and we will make that update to their course request. If they're not taking Math 1, but they want to do Math 2 Honors potentially as a freshman, there will be an opportunity to do the Math 1 Skippers course. More information about the Skippers course will come out in the beginning of February.
Question, what if students don't get in biomed pathway in 9th and 10th grade both times? What are the options for the student to study biomed in college? So at Mountain House High School, we're fortunate enough to offer these different pathway classes, but not all high schools offered that opportunity. So pathways are never required in high school in order to pursue that subject in college. So worst case scenario, if your student did not get the biomed pathway in 9th or 10th grade and they couldn't take the classes here, it does not mean that they're not able to major in a healthcare related field in college. They could also pursue outside opportunities like, for example, taking a community college class that addresses their interest. So while we limit what we will articulate onto the high school transcript as far as community college classes goes, students can choose to take anything that they want and they will earn college credit for it, and they can report that on UC and CSU applications.
The next question is for math classes, is it randomized or is it based off of map testing and grades from Edgenuity? So for the math classes, all of our freshmen start in that Math 1 course unless they do that summer skipper course. Summer skipper information will come out at another time. So right now, your freshmen are set to have that Math 1 course in their areas for their requests. If your student is already taking that Math 1 high school accelerated level course in their 8th grade, then they can email their counselor and we will change that to whether they want Math 2 or Math 2 Honors.
I would like to make a note about the Math 1 Summer Skipper program. This is a very challenging course for students because it requires a student to complete a year-long math course in about 3 months. So it's a very accelerated math course. We know many of our families choose to travel over the summer for a majority of the summer. If this is you or your family, you most likely will not have enough time to complete the Math 1 course. So you may want to adjust your summer travel plans or choose to just start in Math 1, because even by starting in Math 1, students can still make it to AP Calculus as a senior, which is going above math requirements for graduation and going above what A through G requires for four-year eligibility.
The next question asks if students need teacher recommendation for honors level courses. Although we don't need a teacher recommendation for honors level courses, we do ask that students ask that subject teacher that they have in 8th grade to see if they would be a good fit for an honors class. So for example, if they want English 9 honors, maybe they check in with their current ELA teacher to see if an honors level course in that subject would be a good fit for them. But we don't need letters of recommendation.
Our next question is, can I switch this year if I don't get a class that I want? So starting for next school year, we are no longer offering schedule changes. So there will not be an opportunity to meet with a counselor at walkthrough registration and request to change your schedule. We are becoming too large of a campus where it's not something we can accommodate moving forward. Now, if there is a mistake on your schedule, for example, you were placed in English 10, but you're supposed to be in English 9. Those types of things, of course, we're going to correct. But if you selected Spanish 1 and now have decided in August that you want to take French 1, no, we are not taking those kinds of requests moving forward. So you need to make sure that you are really considering what you want to take in your freshman year, because what you are assigned, you will be committed to for the full school year, and you will not have the opportunity to request a change.
Our next question is, what would be the best alternate subject for Principles of Biomed for 9th grade year? So all 9th grade students are required to take a life science. So if your student doesn't get Principles of Biomed, they will either need to take biology or biology honors. So an alternate for Principles of Biomed should be either biology or biology honors.
The next question is asking how they could sign up for advanced orchestra. So for the course, when a student is selecting a course, they can only start in the beginning. So you can only start in beginning orchestra. However, if your teacher approves, they can move you to advanced orchestra, but your teacher would email us if that is the case. So for now, if you're interested in orchestra or any of those types of music classes, you'll always start in that beginning level and then talk with the teacher. And if the teacher approves, they'll just email us and then we can make the change on our end.
The next question is, what if a kid got kicked out from Edgenuity Math 1 during 8th grade due to low grade? Will they be eligible to take summer skipper program? So they may be eligible to take a summer skipper program, but that, again, as Ms. Russo said, is a shortened amount of time, and it is more accelerated than the Math 1 that they do in 8th grade. So if they were not successful in Edgenuity in Math 1, where they had a little bit more time, just because they're eligible doesn't mean that it's recommended. So they could be eligible. We would check their grade and things like that. However, that doesn't mean that that's the best fit for them, especially because this year, especially, I've seen a lot of kids struggle in Math 2 and Math 2 honors if they weren't taking their Math 1 course in 8th grade seriously. So they might be eligible, but it's not recommended.
The next question is there an option to do the Math 1 summer skipper course during March to May? So the summer skipper course usually starts in March and then it goes and follows along with our summer school. As Mrs. Russo and Mrs. Lamy kind of mentioned earlier, that course is not a super easy course. It is accelerated, and it's a shortened amount of time for students. So the answer is that you would have to plan on taking that course from March all the way until the summer school is going to end.
Our next question is, are there any summer classes required this year other than summer skipper? So I wanted to mention that the summer skipper is not required. It's just an option if students are interested in starting in Math 2 or Math 2 honors in 9th grade. Outside of the Math 1 summer skipper, there is nothing else for your student to do. They cannot complete community service hours. They cannot start a community college class. They cannot advance in another Mountain House area. They should really take the time to enjoy their summer, preparing for high school, exploring their interests so they feel like they know what they want to get involved in when they start here at the high school. But as far as what they're required to do or what's available to them, the only thing available is the Math 1 summer skipper.
We're also getting a lot of questions about early college. So please keep in mind, early college will have a completely separate information session. So if you are interested in early college, you will have a completely separate information session scheduled at a later date to get all of those questions addressed.
The early college informational meeting will be in the first week of February. I will be sending more information regarding that at a later time.
Our next question is about how students find out who their counselor is. So if students head to the Mountain House High School website under counseling, it lists all of the counselors and what alpha breakdown we work with. Keep in mind that could change from year to year.
Our next question is, if biomed replaces life science in ninth grade, in that case, can we choose drama and culinary as an elective and continue with it in the rest of high school? Yes. So for this specific situation, because Principles of Biomed fulfills life science, then that leaves 2 spots open that they can take for 2 additional electives. So yes, your student could sign up for drama and could sign up for culinary, and is able to complete all 3 of those pathways if they wanted to. I would recommend that they speak with their counselor when starting at Mountain House, though, to ensure that they have a 4-year plan in place to make sure that they can meet those goals. If students are looking for something to do over the summer, one thing that they could do is on our counseling blog, we have a lot of resources available related to college and career and also mental health. So I'm going to post that link now. The counseling blog, they have the recorded presentations from previous years. So that would be a great way for your student to learn more information about what they need to be 4-year eligible, how to maybe stand out to, on college applications, but then also a lot of really great resources addressing mental health. Our next question is, I heard the world history class is not offered at MHHS. So is there any way I can get it from the community college, such as Delta? So world history is a course that's assigned to students in 10th grade year at Mountain House High School. So students can take world history, AP world history, or AP human geography in 10th grade at Mountain House to fulfill that requirement. So we do offer it at Mountain House High School. However, students can choose to take that course at a community college like Delta College to fulfill the 10th grade requirement. If they want to do this plan, they must take world history at Delta or another community college fall 2026. So in the fall semester of their 9th grade year. If they do not complete and pass the class by December of their 9th grade year, then they are not eligible to articulate that course onto the high school transcript, and they will be required to take it at Mountain House High School in 10th grade year. Our next question is, can a student take more than 2 honors courses per year, or is there a limit? We do not limit the amount of AP or honors courses a student can take as long as they're meeting the prerequisite requirements. However, we do have a recommendation that a student does not take more than 2 honors or AP classes in a given year. This recommendation comes from promoting balance in the student's life. So, a lot of times a student will take on too much And if they would have stuck to maybe 2 AP or honors courses, they would have been able to perform better, rather than maybe getting C's across the board because they took on 4 or 5 AP or honors courses. So we don't limit it, but we really encourage students to consider what they actually have time for and to really only be taking AP and honors courses in the subjects that they're passionate about. So if your student wants to be in the healthcare field and they're taking the biomedical pathway, it's not necessary for them to take all the honors and AP English courses. It would be better for them to focus on our science courses and challenge themselves in that area, rather than trying to stack on stuff just for the sake of it.
Question is, if I already did Math 1 in 8th grade, am I guaranteed to get into Math 2 honors? So we don't guarantee any courses that are necessarily outside of giving you guys the graduation requirement. So if you already did the Math 1, please just request the Math 2 honors course, and we'll obviously try our best to get you in that honors course. If there's any conflicts or anything like that, you'll definitely have the Math 2, but we try to get you in everything that you guys put in your request. It's just that nothing is guaranteed 100%.
Our next question is about how many community service hours 9th graders are expected to complete. So all Mountain House High School students are required to complete 40 community service hours by the time they graduate from Mountain House High School. We recommend students complete 10 hours per year. So as long as they complete 40 by the time they graduate high school, or before their senior year's over, they will have enough hours to graduate.
The next question is a clarifying question in regards to the orchestra. So if your student just puts in orchestra or beginning orchestra, whatever the option is for their freshman year, I believe the music teachers collaborate, and if your student is an advanced orchestra student, then they will be moved up to the higher level. But initially, everyone just gets placed into the beginning course, and then if your teacher either currently in 8th grade or high school, I believe they all collaborate, and then they will move your student to the level they need to be.
Our next question is, freshman leadership says it requires an application and an interview. If my daughter's interested in that elective, does she need to submit an application? So for any of the courses that you may see like application required, so leadership is one of them. I think some of the performing arts like band, orchestra, choir, like the advanced ones, they require an application. For now, all you need to do is add the course to your course request in Aries. At a later time, you'll be contacted by either our leadership teacher, or if it's for one of the performing arts classes, you'll be contacted by them about, an interview, or sometimes they have you submit a video or a questionnaire. So it just kind of depends on what the course is. But for now, just add it to Aries, and then you'll be contacted at a later time about what else they may need from you. Our next question is, how do we get placed into our courses? Is it first come, first serve? No. So the scheduling window is open until January 28th. If you put your course request in today, you do not get any priority over someone that does it on January 28th. The system is randomized, so there's not any specific guideline on who gets priority over who. The only way that it does prioritize is by grade level. So starting with 12th and 11th, 10th, and then 9th, 12th graders will get the highest priority in classes.
The next question is, can we take AP World History during ninth grade? So our ninth graders here at Mountain House High School don't have world history in their schedule. They would be in the global studies and health class. However, if you are wanting to do world history at Delta and not take that class with us in 10th grade, you would technically be able to take that world history class, the History 2B, during the ninth grade fall semester, because that is your only option to take it at Delta and get it articulated and put on our transcript. So if you are looking to do a Delta college class, you can do it there, but it's not going to reflect as an AP World History class on our transcript. That's going to be a fully college course. So that is a little bit separate from the AP World History. Otherwise, students in ninth grade will not have the option at Mountain House High School to do AP World History. It would be in 10th grade that they would take that. But again, if they want to do a college course, they can do world history at Delta and get that put on our transcript, but only during the fall of their ninth grade. That's when they have to complete it, by that December of their ninth grade year.
Our next question is about HOSA and how students get into HOSA. So in order to get into HOSA, students need to be a part of the biomed pathway. So if you're interested in HOSA, please make sure Principles of Biomed is in your course request. Clubs in general, we will be also holding a club fair in fall of next year. All clubs will be out in the quad setting up booths. So if you're interested in clubs, you can talk to them then.
The next question is asking about other ways to get an associate's degree while in high school other than early college. So although we have like a cohort style program that is early college, another way to do it is just students doing it on their own. Students are allowed to take classes at Delta College outside of the early college program. Again, if you're interested in either option, I recommend coming to the informational meeting. That more information will be sent out in the next week or two.
Our next question is leadership during a class period or after school? And it's kind of both. So if you get leadership, you will be assigned leadership as an elective. So you will have a period during the day where you are in leadership class. But with leadership, there's a lot of after school opportunities and events to be a part of. So there will be a lot of after school things going on for leadership, but you are assigned a class during the school day.
Another question is asking if biomed replaces physics and chemistry classes, but no, biomed can replace biology because it's considered a life science. So it could replace biology because it's a life science, but it will not replace chemistry or physics, as those are physical sciences.
We had a question about DECA. So can you take DECA through culinary? So if you're interested in being part of DECA, they have to be in the business program. So they would need to enroll in Intro to Business. They can also take culinary as their second elective, but if they want to be in DECA, they have to have the business pathway. Just kind of like HOSA and Biomed, DECA is attached to the business pathway. Our next question is, can I do HOSA, DECA, Model UN, and speech and debate as my extracurriculars all in 1 year? For HOSA and DECA, you'd have to be enrolled in Intro to Principles of Biomed, And then you'd also have to be enrolled in Intro to Business. So if you're enrolled in both of those elective courses, yes, you can join HOSA, and yes, you can join DECA. They may conflict with each other as far as the after school commitment goes, though. So I would encourage you to come to Curriculum Fair. Our teachers are going to be present at Curriculum Fair. Our pathway teachers are going to be present there. So you'll probably be able to, speak with the teachers who are involved in those programs, and they can give you a better idea about what the commitment looks like. Because I would say it's possible, but then also it would be challenging because my assumption is that some of these things are going to overlap with each other. So you may need to kind of pick what's most important to you. But again, Curriculum Fair is probably going to be a good way to go and get that question answered. And actually, it looks like I'm going to revert back to the question about DECA and culinary. It looks like that might be possible, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'm going to follow up with our DECA team and see if they're enrolled in culinary, if they're able to be part of DECA. So I have your email noted. I will send you an email with the answer to that question about culinary and DECA. Our next question is, I have an open spot in my 4-year plan for both 10th and 11th grade. So can I take culinary in 10th and intro to business in 11th grade? Yes, you can request that. Absolutely.
The next question is asking if students can take chemistry and physics this year if they take biomed for the life science. No, you'll have to take them in sophomore year after you have completed the biomed.
Yeah, just to clarify too on that, you need 1 year of a life science and 2 years of a physical science. So the life science is typically biology, but you can use biomed to meet that life science requirement. And then when you're in 10th and 11th grade, then you need to take your physical sciences. And that would be chemistry, physics in the universe, or even earth and space. So if you take biomed in 9th grade, in 10th and 11th grade, you're still going to pick your physical science courses.
So we are coming up to the end of our time. We have about 5 minutes left, so we can take a couple more questions. In the chat, I'm going to post the incoming 9th grade resources. Please check those out. Everything that we went over in class today with your students is located on the website. So video recordings on how to enter things into Aries, the course list, the PowerPoint that addresses most of the questions that were answered or asked today. All of that is available via the website, and I just posted that link in the chat. If you are interested in the biomed pathway, Principles of Biomed will fulfill your life science requirements. So no, you cannot register for biology honors in addition to that. Biomed is a pathway. So questions about if biomed is a pathway. Yes, biomed is one of the pathways we offer here on campus. Early college, please keep an eye on your email. There's going to be an informational meeting in February. You will be sent information about early college, the informational session, and how to go through that process. So keep an eye on your email. That will be coming in February. Students cannot register for 8 courses. You're only allowed to sign up for 7. If you choose 8 courses, we're going to automatically delete one. So make sure you're only choosing 7 courses, and then you can use that 8th course as an alternate for one of your electives. Our next question is, are alternates for all classes required? No, you only need to put an alternate for elective courses. So if your student selected 2 electives, they would need to have an alternate for each elective. If they selected 1 elective and 1 flex period, they only need to have 1 alternate. They can choose to assign more than 1 alternate to 1 class. So for Intro to Business, they could choose to have Spanish 1 and Art 1 as their backup for Intro to Business. But you need at least 1 per elective. All right, we're going to give it about 1 more minute for final questions. Please submit questions through the form that you see on the screen. I'm going to hang out for about another minute, and we'll see if any other questions come through. If not, we will be continuing presentations at our other 8th grade sites the rest of this week. We do have additional Q&A sessions. If you didn't get all your questions answered, you can join during that time. We will be present before curriculum fair. So curriculum fair is 6 to 8, but counselors will be available from 4 to 6 to answer questions prior to curriculum fair starting. We'll be located in the theater. More information will come out about that.
Sorry, the time for curriculum fair is from 5 to 7 for counselors.
5 to 7. Thank you, Mrs. Levy. All right. Our next question is, can we have Spanish 1 and concert band together? Yes. So your student has the opportunity to sign up for up to 2 electives. Spanish 1 and concert band would both count as an elective. Make sure that they're putting an alternate for Spanish 1 and an alternate for band. All right, everybody, that ends today's session. Thank you for joining us. We are going to be available the rest of the week for virtual Q&As. That information's on the website. So if you didn't get all your questions answered, you're welcome to join us. Please also review the materials on the website because most questions can be answered by reviewing those materials. Hope everybody has a wonderful day, and we will see you all soon.